This podcast is brought to you by Collector Legion. For all your single and gaming needs, there is no substitute. And if you're lucky enough to find yourself in LA with time to play, check them out for the best in-person gaming experience this side of the Pro Tour. Welcome to Split Second Sorcerers. I'm your host with the most stops on Moto, Isaac Sears. And today on the pod, we have someone who's won both Game Day champs for both Journey into Nyx and Amonkhet, top 8'd the Magic Fest 2021, and won the 2021 NRG champs. It's
the one, the only
Ivan Pablo, as you otherwise may know them, Ivan Espinosa.
What's up?
What's going on, my guy? Let's see what the top deck has in mind for us today. All right, what's your favorite non-Magic story from a Magic trip?
We're on our way to Vegas for some like random PTQ. At I think it was called Little Shop of Magic, but we had to get there at like 9 a.m. or something absurd. We ended up like going from, because I live in Southern California, we ended up driving to Vegas super early, and like the sun's rising, and we're going through this long stretch of like desert road.
Yeah.
And the car just stops accelerating. It's like it decides that no more does the gas pedal going down mean that the car is going to go forward. And so we just pull over to the side and we're like, huh, it's like, it's like 6:45 a.m. We're kind of just hanging out, and, it's not hot. It's not too cold. It's kind of just nice. And we have just cars going by us. And like, for me, it was a good story, because I was like, well, I guess if we make it to the event, that'll be cool. And if not, I hope we aren't out here for too long. And it kind of just gave me like a nice little perspective of like, okay, well, Magic's not all what it's about. And just like, it was nice to have.
Turns out dying in real life is also a scary.
Yeah, it's like dying IRL is like not cool. So I was like hopeful for that. And I was like, oh, that kind of gives me perspective and just, help me enjoy the trip a little bit more and the car ride and stuff. So.
Dying for real is not cool.
The car only did it 2 more times during the trip, so it was fine. It wasn't bad though. But we got there on time. So
all's well that ends well.
Oh yeah.
All right, if you could change one thing about Magic, what would it be?
About Magic?
In general, it can be tournament structure, games played, sets released, whatever. You are Magic God for this one moment.
I guess it would just bring back like the Grand Prix structure and bring back like pro status and stuff, because like that was the dream, like growing up in that era of just like, oh, like this guy's plat, like he's
Play
at this
the
Grand
game.
Prix,
See the world.
Get appearance fees, that kind of thing. I think that would be sweet. I know it's not like in the budget for Hasbro, but maybe.
Yeah, I think the $1 billion company can fork over some more greenbacks.
Well, if you have somebody who like is super rich and just like buys Magic, or they let them buy Magic or something, then they can really, turn it into something that the players want or what they want to see for
something
the players.
Magical, maybe even.
Yeah.
What's the best or healthiest constructed format of all time, in your opinion?
Oh, the best. I don't know if it was healthy, but it's definitely the 2015, like when Yvonne Flock won the Pro Tour with blue white, like standard, that kind of was like
Rev, it's totally fine.
Yeah, Sphinx Rev is fine. They have Rakdos return to counteract it. Like, what do you mean? That's why they put it in that cycle. They balance it out. So yeah, it's fine. I just like the WinCon being like Jason Mutavault. I thought that was really cool. Really enjoyed that format, and it like rewarded a lot of like decision making, I guess, and that to me it kind of like introduced me into like what Control really was or could be, and never would be again. So it was kind of cool, like thinking back on it. But yeah, I think my first tournament that I won was like a 1K or like SEG. I think it was a 2K GPT something, and I just played some like blue eye Control deck, and I was like, this is the best deck ever. So.
Do you have a favorite or memorable pre-tourney pump-up song?
Oh yeah, Fireball by Pitbull. Not close. Next question.
Which card in Magic history has the distinction of being the first card you hated?
I hated Blood Moon. Not close. I played I played enough Modern to just
play my spells.
Yeah, I want to play my shock lands. I paid a lot of money for them. These fetch lands too. Like I don't have to play basics anymore. I'm not playing limited. You know.
What am I, a poor?
Let me live.
Why am I
like,
playing these basics?
Exactly. Then I still hate it. It's still my least favorite card. Like all the decks I play, they're so greedy. They need all the colors, 5 colors.
What's the worst card you've ever registered in a constructed tournament?
Oh, it's definitely a Johnny. What is his name? Hold on. I wrote it down because I knew I was going to forget it. Yeah, a Johnny Strength of the Pride. It was last year in Atlanta. I was playing Angels. It pretty much if you like have 20 more life than you started with or something. I don't know what it. You plague wind your opponent, so you just exile all their creatures, and it's just
because they're not already dead. That you since you already have.
Well, yeah, because it was specifically for the mirror match, but like the Angels mirror match. What am I doing? I registered 2 of them, never brought it in, and then you like, it's just ridiculous. I was like, oh, it overlaps with control, but control's not a winnable matchup. It was just a horrible card, and I lost all my matches to 3 control players anyway, so whatever.
What Magic level up moment paid the biggest dividends?
Oh, that one. I mean, there's a ton, but I'd say the most like unique one that I try to share with people is just like adjusting your scope, and that's so let's say you're playing a game and you're losing, you're just getting rolled, you're just like, oh man, or like your deck is completely not giving you what you want, or you're playing well, but maybe like variance is kind of like getting you a little bit. You just have to remember like it's just one game in the thousands and thousands that you've played, or if you don't do well in tournaments, like one tournament and like the like hundreds of tournaments that you've played or will play, like you need to have the ability to adjust your perspective or you're going to tilt and you're going to just spiral, and then that's just going to like you're not going to be able to win your game, you're not going to be able to win the match or the next like few matches or the tournament or like multiple tournaments. You're just going to spiral out of control, and if you can't like reel it in and kind of just like say, okay, well, we're going to take this one game at a time, or if you are like losing, you need to like re-expand it and say, okay, well, this is not that important, right? But like it's being able to adjust that and know when to like lock it in and when to just like take a step back and like not be as intense as you are when you're just like really trying to win a game is really important, especially when you're like traveling and hemorrhaging money as much as most Magic players do when they're on a tournament grind. But yeah, I mean the ideal thing is for like you to win all your matches, but that's not realistic and that's not what happens. So being able to cope with losing is the biggest part of Magic, and the biggest level up thing I've experienced is just like how to lose. Yeah.
What's your favorite card to try and wheel in a limited format?
So for me, the only limited format I really play is like Vintage Cube, and a lot of the time it's just like elves, because like elves tell you a lot about like what's going on in the draft. Like you see a bird, you're like, okay, well, no one's trying to draft like green 5-color good stuff, or you see an Elvish Mystic, you're okay, like nobody's in this like this mono green deck, or it just like fills out your like random like red green beats deck, which is, I love that deck. I love Questing Beast. I love like all those haste creatures that like don't need haste and have like absurd abilities. So I think those really just like supercharge the really good cards like Oko, Minsc and Boo, that kind of thing, just accelerating those out with like an unassuming 1/1. And they're broken in like the constructed formats too, so like seeing those things wheel, like it tells you a lot, and then you get to take them, so it's nice.
What's your favorite Magic deck of all time?
Oh, that one's got to be Ad Nauseam. I played a lot of Modern Ad Nauseam. I played probably about 5 years in Modern. It was my first Modern deck. I feel like that was the first deck I truly like mastered, I guess, as far as like knowing all the lines and knowing like when my opponent was dead, when I needed to like that deck just had so much play to it, despite being a combo deck. You can like spoils for like you're like, oh, well, I'm dead anyway, so you spoils for a card you need, and you hit it on like the last possible time. You like it's it's a lot of hard work and a lot of like playing Scrylands and knowing what to do with them. It's like you're like, oh man, the Scryland's so good, it draws a card. Like we didn't have preordained back then, but like we did what we could. And
We worked for our selection.
I know they banned Simian Spirit Guide, so that was probably the best deck, or the most fun deck, my favorite deck of all time, just because of who it made me as a Magic player. But it getting banned was probably the best thing to happen to me, lifetime probably.
What's your favorite tourney venue?
Oh, the DreamHack San Diego venue that they had, the San Diego Convention Center. They had us up there, and I felt like we were in like Paris or something. I was like, this is what all the convention centers in like Europe must look like, because it was like open. It was like the whole, you could see the sky. You can see like the buildings around you. And in convention centers, you never get to see the sky. You never get to like go out. Like you travel to all these places, but you never get to see the outside, and like getting that experience of just having the sunlight like hit you and seeing that, knowing what time of day it is, and like not having the like the casino lights effect that most convention centers have, is just like, it felt refreshing. I didn't do well at that tournament, but it felt really refreshing. It was nice being there. So that's definitely my favorite venue. It's not even close. Nothing is close to that.
Well, things that might not want to be as close as they might be in your brain. What's the biggest or most memorable punt you've ever committed?
Oh, what is that one? Oh, I remember. I don't even have to look at my cheat sheet. I remember. It was a punt that I made before I even sat down to play round one. I registered, so I was playing Blue-Red Emerge in Standard in 2017 at Grand Prix Denver, and I registered 4 Sanctum of Ugin in there instead of 4 Champion of Wits, and it doesn't get brought to my attention until the last round. I've lost 2 win-in-ins for top 8. I'm playing in my last win-in-in for top 8 that I could possibly play. I'm playing against Brian Brown-Duin. He's playing Teamer Energy, which is my best matchup, and the judge comes over and is like, we're going to deck check you. And I was like, okay, cool. Bet. Easy. I passed deck checks before. I know this deck. I made this deck. You know, like I know all the cards in the deck. I accidentally switch it up. I lose game 1 immediately. Game 2, I steamroll his shit. You know, absolutely just roll him. Game 3, he rolls me. He goes like turn 1, Attune. Turn 2, like, I don't know. Turn 2, Servant of the Conduit. Yeah. Turn 3, Rogue Refiner. Turn 4, just like, what is there a dragon or something? I felt like I got dragoned. I don't know. Glorybringer. Yeah, Glorybringer. I'm just like, okay, well, I'll take 7. You know, I'm dead. And I just couldn't set up or anything. And you just like harness lightning. I did. It was just, that was a massacre. And I was like, well, you know, and I got 10th. And so that was the punt. And that would have been my first, like, and I tested so much for that ground. I beat like very good players, and I feel like I played really well that tournament. And I feel like that I stole that for myself. That was horrible, but whatever. It happens. You live and learn.
You do. But in your estimation, what's the most difficult match you've ever won?
Oh, I'd say difficult because I needed to win. Okay, let me just set it up. Let's set it up. All right. So I'm playing in a sealed PTQ at Grand Prix Portland. It is Ultimate Masters, sealed, and I hadn't looked at the set before. I just kind of like sat down and I like looked at it on the plane, and I was like, oh, this looks like Cube, and I was like, cool, I'm good at Cube. Let's do this. Let's rock it. I'm in the last round of Swiss. I'm playing for top 8, and I have Molten Rebirth, which is 1 red for sorcery. It says make 2 1/1 elementals, red elementals, and then flip a coin. If you win the flip, put that back in your hand. I had a young Pyromancer out as well. And this I registered a blue-black deck. And I lost every single game 1 with my blue-black deck. It was horrible. And then my red-white deck that I sideboarded into every match won me every single games 2 and 3. And so I'm in game 3 in the last round. I have a young Pyromancer and this Molten Rebirth. My opponent has lethal on board. And I'm like, okay, well, I know that I need to win 2 coin flips in order for like this line to work. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. I go, okay, Molten Rebirth, make essentially 3 because of the young Pyromancer. I win the coin flip. and this is my opponent. He has everything set out, and he has this penny, this penny with like the shield on the back or whatever. So I call tails, right, all the time. I was like, that shield is mine. He has it, and I win the coin flip. I'm like, okay, and then the next turn, do the same thing. He draws a land, I win the coin flip. I win the coin flip 9 times in a row to not die and to win this tournament. And every single time I'm letting my opponent flip the coin, right? he's flipping the coin. He has nickels, he has dimes, quarters, he has a dice he could roll.
That penny.
He rolls the same penny every single time because I don't know. He just keeps rolling this, or he keeps flipping the same penny every single time, and I win 9. I mean, okay, after the 5th coin flip that I won, I was gonna be okay. But I'm just saying, like, I won that, and so maybe it was like the luckiest, but it was also the most hard fought because every single turn I'm like, okay, I need to do this, and then maybe I can win. Oh, cool, nice, and then it was ridiculous, and then but
That's awesome.
that after that was the hardest match, and then the draft was easy. So yeah.
Huh? All right. So my producer just informed me we've reached our lighting budget for this episode. So to end this pod,
Okay.
the people need to know: do you prefer your foreign media subtitled or dubbed?
Oh, definitely subbed. Gotta have it subbed. I want to know like what they're saying. I know maybe subbed and dubbed because like you get to hear what they're saying and then like the translation because it's always translated different, right?
Sure.
But probably just subtitles.
All right, man. As we come here to a close, do you have any upcoming tournaments the fans can sweat you in, or perhaps a place where the good people can find you or your content?
You can find me on Twitter at Ivan Pablo MTG, and then the next tournament I'm going to is Denver. It's the RC Modern. Mr. Isaac will be there.
Indeed, I shall. All right, well, that does it for this episode. Thanks to my guest, Ivan, Richard Garfield, and you, the viewer. If y'all have any guests or questions you'd like to see asked on this program, feel free to let me know in the comments or just hit me up on Twitter at @LikeIkes. And remember, folks, it's handshake, sign the slip, then throw your O3 deck in the trash, not the other way around.